Hey everyone, I want to thank one of my subscribers, Jesse Harrison, for requesting this video. And the video is comparing which one is the better stock to buy. Is it Palantir or CrowdStrike? So that's what I'll do in this video. I'll look at both of their near-term most recent quarter's results, and then I'll look at a little bit longer term operating profitability margins, and then I'll compare them on valuation, and finally I will answer which one of these two growth stocks I would prefer right now. So let's get right into it, starting with CrowdStrike, which saw its revenue increase by 42% to 693 million. Its net income improved to 500,000. That was up from a loss of 31.5 million year over year. However, I want to point this out, and this is true for both CrowdStrike and Palantir. Their growth in profitability is mostly due to interest income, because they both have roughly $3 billion of cash on hand, and with interest rates soaring, they were able to earn more money on that cash balance. So it wasn't so much that their operations improved, it was more so that they earned a greater degree of interest income, which is less preferable because interest rates fluctuate, and that's not a dependable source of profitability for a company. CrowdStrike is forecasting second quarter revenue of 722 million, which is an improvement from the first quarter, and full year revenue of 3 billion. So CrowdStrike expecting a very good rest of the year in 2023, which is impressive considering the macroeconomic slowdown across tech stocks worldwide. Now let's look at Palantir, which saw its revenue grow by 18% to 525 million. Palantir too improved its profitability, boasting an earnings per share of 1 penny. That was an improvement from a loss per share of 5 cents in the same quarter. But again, I will highlight that most of it was due to interest income, which totaled 21 million in the most recent quarter. That was up from just 547,000 year over year. Now, when you look at total net income of 16.8 million, you could see that interest income was even higher than total net income. So if you excluded interest income from Palantir's results, the company would have been negative on the bottom line. Palantir 2 has close to $3 billion of cash, which allows it to earn a very high degree of interest income, and that should persist for at least the rest of this year. Palantir is forecasting 530 million in revenue for Q2 and profitability on the bottom line for the rest of the year. So Palantir is expecting similar results from the first quarter to persist throughout 2023. Also impressive considering the macroeconomic slowdown and the difficulty that companies like Palantir and CrowdStrike are having because enterprises are trying to pause and cancel spending wherever they can. So let's look at a bit of a longer term comparison in terms of their operating profitability, the operating profit margin for the trailing 12 months. Looking at this metric, both companies are negative on this metric, but Palantir is showing impressive growth here, growing from negative close to 120% operating profitability all the way up to negative 5.93%. CrowdStrike also showing nice improvement, growing from negative close to 60% to negative 7.59%. I would not be surprised if over the next 8 quarters, both of these companies were profitable on this metric going forward. Finally, let's look at valuation. Let's look at how expensive these stocks are, measuring by the forward price to earnings ratio. Now, I will highlight that since May, these stocks have exploded. I recommended Palantir stock as a buy about 2 months ago, and the stock has exploded since then. Palantir, the same thing. I recommended it as CrowdStrike, the same thing. I recommended it as a buy a couple of months ago, and the stock has increased since then. Tech stocks in general have increased substantially since May as a result of the hype in artificial intelligence. Look at Palantir's valuation has soared from a forward PE of 30 all the way up to a forward PE of 61.77. CrowdStrike also has gotten more expensive, but not as extreme as Palantir. Right now, Palantir is trading slightly more expensively than CrowdStrike at a forward PE of 61.77 compared to 50.22. So if I had to pick one of these two growth stocks to buy right now, I would feel more comfortable in Palantir stock. I feel the company has more competitive advantages versus CrowdStrike, although CrowdStrike is operating in an industry that's likely to grow for the next 2 decades. I like Palantir's competitive advantages versus CrowdStrike. I will note here that I feel these two stocks are getting on the expensive side. So cautiously enter into these if you are interested in going in. I may update my recommendation on Palantir stock. I may advise my followers to take profits if you had bought Palantir stock when I recommended it about a couple of months ago. I'm not ready to do that just yet, but it's approaching that level where it's getting too expensive for me to still feel comfortable recommending the stock as a buy. But for now, if I'm comparing between Palantir and CrowdStrike, I would pick Palantir stock as the one to buy. All right, that's all I've got for this video. Thank you again to Jesse for requesting this video. And if you've got videos you would like me to do, please go ahead and request them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.